Welcome. Are you considering purchasing a home in Denver, Colorado, but have no idea where to start? Well, you've come to the right place. Hi, my name is 𝐃𝐈𝐑𝐄𝐓, and I am a realtor in the Denver metro area, and I specialize in first-time home buyers. My job is to make the purchase of your first home an easy one. If you enjoy this video, please feel free to like and subscribe. It helps my channel tremendously. Let's jump right into it. Step number 1. When buying a home, you may feel very overwhelmed initially, rightfully so. If you start with these key steps, I'm certain it will help you during the home buying process, whether you intend to use me as your agent or someone completely different. Step number 1. The biggest step I always provide my clients would be to interview agents. When you're first looking to purchase a home, you may reach out to your friends and family and ask them for reputable agents. Although this is a great way to find someone your family trusts and your friends may like, but ideally you want to sit down and make sure this person is a right fit for you. I have asked a lot of peers, friends, followers, what their ideal agent looks like, whether they are basing that off of experience, how reputable they are, or if personality makes a huge difference. And surprisingly enough, I have had an enormous amount of people say it really comes down to personality and making sure they mesh well with them. Buying a home can take truly as long as 6 months up to a year in some cases. Depending on your time frame, that can look completely different. I will always say find at least 3 agents and interview all 3. Yes, interview your agent. What does this mean? Sit down, grab some coffee, and know your time frame, what that looks like, if they are a full-time agent, which can make a huge difference. This will help you figure out if this is someone you can see yourself working for a long period of time if needed, and making sure that you mesh well during the course of your home buying journey. If you guys are already having trouble in that first convo, this is kind of a tell-all and potentially a red flag that this is not the right agent for you, and that's okay. I don't want to work with everybody that comes along and gets pre-approved, and I mean that respectfully. Just as much as you as a buyer may not want to work with every agent. And I think that's normal and that's important to remember. Whether you are looking to purchase by yourself, with a spouse, or even a family member, I always say really map out your time frame. Step number 2 would be to make sure your time frame makes sense and that you're not rushing into the first home you may see because that knock is knocking at your door end of month. As an agent, mostly representing buyers in Colorado, I always voice that my hope is that we get you into a home that you can typically see living in for a duration of 2 to 5 years, which is an average kind of first-time home buyer's length of time that they stay in their first home. And if you are on a lease or you're living with family and you need an extended stay, make sure you vocalize those points before we get to looking, so we're not in a desperate or a dire situation where you have to jump ship just because you're out of a home. Step number 3, this is hands down something that I want to make very well known, is truly not only do you need to make sure you are financially ready for that jump into home ownership, but really look at your total financial health and kind of well-being. What I mean is when you're going into purchasing a home, not only are we looking at how much you may get pre-approved for, but also what is your ideal price point that you're comfortable making monthly. I always say as a buyer, have a total that you are not willing to negotiate over, as well as some movement with those numbers. I'll be honest with you. Most people, when they come to me and we first get that pre-approval and we have this conversation, they start by saying that they're comfortable paying $2,500 a month. And we typically surpass that amount, give or take around $200 to $300. So although it may be ideal, make sure it makes sense in the current housing market that you're in, and the typical purchase price as well as the mortgage monthly payment that you're going to find with a single family home in that general area. And be totally upfront with your agent. If you feel any pressure, pushback, if you feel rushed whatsoever, that agent may not be for you, rightfully so. And if that agent isn't for you, find one that you know is going to help you and stand by those initial amounts that you don't want to go over. And truly make it make sense for you. You're the one living in it. We don't have to. My 4th tip would be to really honing in on exactly which area that you're open to. Don't be turned off by specific zip codes or cities. If you're telling me you're not going to buy a home in Aurora because you heard blah, 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 or you don't like it, and your monthly mortgage amount or pre-approval amount is, say, right around $400,000, and you want a single family home, this is me portraying a picture to you. I'm going to tell you you're out of your mind and you're doing yourself a total disservice to yourself and really throwing away a huge area that could potentially get you your dream house within price range. So make sure not only that you have an area that you're open to, but also be open to other areas around, straddling, neighboring an area you potentially like. Don't completely hoax it out. Step number 5. This one always gives me a little bit of a giggle, and now I somewhat know why. Once I get my buyers under contract and we got our offer accepted, I always turn off all portal searches. I really ask my buyers please to stop looking, and that's what brings me to our top number 5 tip is going to be to stop the home search altogether once you're under contract. The grass will always be greener, there will always be a nicer house, and you're going to constantly run into this game of keeping up with the Joneses. And I myself am a prime example of that. I always look at homes, but once we go under contract, and depending on those deadlines and dates and how fine-tuned those deadlines may be, your earnest money may be non-negotiable after a certain date, as well as once we're under contract. Tip is going to be to stop the home search altogether once you're under contract. The grass will always be greener, there will always be a nicer house, and you're going to constantly run into this game of keeping up with the Joneses. And I myself am a prime example of that. I always look at homes, but once we go under contract, and depending on those deadlines and dates and how fine-tuned those deadlines, your earnest money may be non-negotiable after a certain date, as well as once we're under contract, you as a buyer are required to pay for certain items such as inspection and appraisal items. So not only do I say don't offer on a home you don't like, but once you get that offer accepted, halt the search and do yourself a favor and just stop looking. Everything happens for a reason, and you are going to run yourself ragged if you keep doing this. But that wraps it up. That is 5 tips for buying your first home. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you're looking for an agent in Denver, Colorado, I would be honored to earn your business. If you have any specific questions that I was not able to answer, please go ahead and reach out to me. Use any of my social links listed down below. Send me an email. Have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.